Have you noticed some strange things happening in Peppa Pig? First, in the episode Rebecca Rabbit, when Peppa is about to enter the room, look at this door, opens towards the tunnel. But when Peppa enters the room, the direction of the door changes. Now it opens towards the room. When the kids are playing at Peppa's house, look at this dollhouse behind them. It's missing a wall on the front, but just a second later, without anyone even touching it, a wall suddenly appears. The second mistake happens at the beginning of the episode Pumpkin Competition. When Madame Gazelle is explaining the rules of the pumpkin contest, pay attention to the background, especially these two objects, one sitting on top of the bookshelf and the other on the green cabinet to the left. But just a few frames later, when everyone holds up their pumpkins, both objects vanish. Then, as if nothing happened, both pumpkins magically reappear. That's not the only disappearing act, though. When Danny says Peppa isn't here, there's an empty red chair beside him. But in the very next shot, Rebecca suddenly appears sitting in that same red chair, and the red chair she was sitting in before mysteriously teleports next to Susie. Finally, when Pedro gets his prize, pay attention to the color of his chair. One moment it's orange, and the next it turns light blue. Maybe his prize was a free chair makeover. The third mistake happens in Granny Pig's Chickens, when Mummy Pig takes Peppa and George to see her room. Peppa and George throw their suitcase on the floor. Then they start jumping on the bed. Notice that the suitcase is on the floor now, but just a few seconds later, the suitcase suddenly disappears. Where did it go? The fourth mistake occurs in bedtime stories. On the right side of Peppa's house, we can see that the sun is about to set, but when the camera zooms into Peppa's kitchen, the sun is still on the right side of her house. However, when we enter the kitchen, we can see the sun outside the window. How is that possible? Have you noticed any other strange scenes in Peppa Pig? Feel free to share them in the comments.